So if Bitcoin is meant to be a store of value and a means, an alternative currency, aren't some of the altcoins, for example, Ethereum, aren't they, in addition to being a store of value and a new age currency, don't they also have some underlying intrinsic technology value? I've heard Ethereum is for contracts.
Yeah.
So give us a rundown on the biggest altcoins and what the underlying technology or intrinsic value is, and any viewpoint you have on those. How much of it is, where is there a there around some of these underlying technologies?
You have, at this point, more than 1,500 tokens, and there are more almost every week coming to the market. The clear number two is Ethereum. And Ethereum, like Bitcoin, is a blockchain-based token, but it's meant to execute smart contracts that you can essentially give contingent instructions for insurance products and for the execution of promises that depend on each other. So if you don't make your car payment, your car will automatically be shut off. And then you use the Ether tokens to provide what's called the gas to make that contract execute in the background. Or you can use the Ether tokens as payment to fulfill a commercial promise, maybe as a bond or a collateral payment for people who stipulate that they'll perform some act and then either do or don't do it. So Ethereum is a very ambitious language that's meant to create this really new framework called the smart contract that would be a self-executing, self-verifying contract. In other words, a contract that doesn't need lawyers to enforce it when things go wrong. And it raises many novel legal problems, but at the same time will solve many others. And in particular, you don't have to go to court and get a lien when people don't keep their promises. These smart contracts just automatically execute with certainty, and you have to live with the consequences.
So cut out the sheriff, cut out the repo man.
Exactly.
Just something happens and maybe you figure out a signal that turns off the Tesla or whatever it is, and you can no longer, or cuts off your cable, whatever it might be.
That's the classic example, is it shuts off the ignition of your car remotely, and these days the car could probably drive itself back to the lot. So no more repo man. The costs of dispute resolution, in other words, are driven down, and the costs of verification, if you can somehow use sensors remotely to the Internet of Things, as it's sometimes called, to police people's behavior and compliance, you can really eliminate an awful lot of costs related to verification and enforcement. And the real point of this is to solve moral hazard problems. A lot of people don't pay their car loans because they know it's costly to foreclose, and so I can miss a couple payments. They won't think that way once they know with certainty some machine in the background is going to shut off their car. Then you'll get much, not only better compliance by borrowers, but people may stay out of the credit pool entirely. And so you'll improve the quality of the people who do show up to borrow.
So in theory, that sounds...
This is a great interview. If you like, go ahead and go to the like section, like the videos of the channel. They go through a lot of stuff, and it does a great job of educating. So if you're just watching one part, or you've watched a couple of my segments and my analysis, definitely, if you have a chance, especially if you're new to cryptocurrencies, go through this interview. I think they do a great job of covering some of the basic terminology. And even right now, when I am speaking to you guys, it's really hard to tell what level my audience is. I'm sure there's some people that know more than me in cryptocurrency, and there's some people that when I'm using some of these terms, I try to define everything and I try to make it clear to you guys. But hopefully this will help you, give you some basic knowledge. And if it's still not clear or confusing, leave a comment. I'll try to respond and make it clear. But very important, if you're going to invest in cryptocurrencies, you educate yourself on this stuff and you kind of understand it, especially in a market like this where it's tanking and the market cap is now under 200. It's 266. Man, I started making videos less than an hour ago, and it was 271. So it just went down another $5 billion. This is a depressing day. But anyways, educate yourself on cryptocurrencies, and if you are depressed right now because this market is doing terrible, don't worry about it, because go through my channel. I have plenty of more information to convince you to hold and not fire sell. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.